Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today on the channel, we're going to talk about what went wrong with Wrestlepalooza because let's be honest, we've all been talking about it. ESPN's been talking about it. They gave the event a C, which is not great for your first ESPN event. So let's talk about what I think went wrong and how I think that it would have been better. So the first thing that I think that went wrong is Triple H. Honestly, like I'm putting the blame on Triple H. You are the guy. You were the one that was out in the media talking about there's going to be surprises, there's going to be big things. We want Wrestlepalooza to be big and on the scale of, a WrestleMania, SummerSlam. We want it to be the same type of PLE. So you fed all of this hype into your viewers, into your fans, into the people of ESPN. You fed them with all of this like hype and excitement, and then nothing happened. I can't think of one single surprise that happened, maybe besides that the John Cena match was a squash. But really, there was no surprises. And so, for you to go out in the media and talk about like big things are going to happen, big surprises, we want Wrestlepalooza to be huge. It's our first PLE on ESPN, so we've got to make a name for ourselves. That was the first step of where you went wrong because you fed all this hype, you got all these people excited, and then you didn't deliver. And you know how they say go big or go home? Well, you went home. You didn't go big at all. And so you fed all of these people these expectations and had them, very excited to see this PLE and see what you could do, and then nothing happened, nothing delivered. So I think that is the first, number one, biggest thing that went wrong with Wrestlepalooza. I honestly think if you would have taken out that media attention and that hype, it wouldn't have been as much as of a disappointment as it was. I think really feeding into that media attention and that hype is what caused the disconnect the most, honestly. I feel like that, some of the matches were lackluster and that caused some disconnect, but I think the most disconnect came from the hype that you fed people and the delivery that you did. So I think in the future, if you're unsure about how you're going to deliver, maybe let's just not talk. Like, let's just not go on podcasts or shows or all of this and say, like, just wait for the surprises, just wait for the big things. It's going to be great. And I think that is the main, honestly, like thing that they did wrong for me is feeding us up with all of these expectations and then it falling flat. The second thing that I think that went wrong with Wrestlepalooza is I think it was rushed. We know that they announced Wrestlepalooza in August, so they announced it a month ahead of time. They then announced very shortly after that it was going to ESPN. So this is our first PLE for ESPN. Where we thought ESPN was going to start in 2026, they sped up the process. And then you had a month to plan this event when you already had another event in Clash at Paris going on as well. So you had to focus on that, which then only gave you 2 to 3 weeks to focus on Wrestlepalooza. Now, when we talk WrestleMania and we talk SummerSlam, your statement said you wanted this to be right in line with those. So when we talk WrestleMania, when we talk SummerSlam, even when we talk Royal Rumble, those are planned out way ahead of time. They are thought about, because you have to think of the whole picture when it comes to, especially like a WrestleMania, you have to think of the whole picture. Like, how are we going to get there? What are the steps that we're going to take? What is this going to involve? And so those things are planned out way ahead of time, not 2 to 3 weeks in advance. So I really think the planning time also hurt WWE because we didn't get as much build up for the matches. I mean, let's just look match by match. The Brock Lesnar and John Cena match. You had Brock show up and attack John. Then you had him show up again. Then you had him show up on Raw this past week and attack I'm sorry, that was SmackDown because they moved to SmackDown. You had him show up on SmackDown this past week and attack Corey and attempt to attack Michael Cole. There was nothing there. It was just Brock showing up and attacking people. And then there was no there was just a disconnect between John and Brock as a whole. If you want these two to have a match together, and to really make it a good match, it didn't work because there was just a lot of missing puzzle pieces in this scene. We saw Brock show up, attack somebody that was not John Cena. He attacked John Cena one time, and then he showed up and just attacked people and was mad and pissed off and whatever, and we didn't know why. Like, why are you so mad? Why are you so mad? We don't know why you're so mad. I know that Brock and John had history, and I know that they had feuds in the past, but that was a past. That was years ago. That doesn't affect now. And then if you take into consideration the Io and Stephanie fight, and again, this one kind of can have a little asterisk beside of it because Stephanie was dealing with an illness that we found out. Naomi had to unexpectedly vacate the title before Clash of Paris, so this was kind of a lot of pieces that were put together very quickly. But again, there was not much build up there. We saw Adam Pearce announce that Io would be the opponent, but then there wasn't much after that. And I know that Stephanie was dealing with her illness, and I get that, so she might not have been able to be on TV. But when a star is not on TV, you can still build it up. You can have Io cut a promo, you can have Stephanie cut a promo, like something to give us a little more. Now, I will say those girls absolutely cooked because that was the match of the night by far. They did everything that they could to show up and show out, and that they did. So, out of all of the matches on the match card, that one specifically, it didn't matter if it had build up or not because those girls showed out. But for the sake of the purpose, if there was more build up, it would have been even better, even over the top. Again, then we go to AJ Lee, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Becky, and to be honest with you, I think this is the match that had the most build up out of all of them on the card. I feel like it had more history, more depth. We've seen ever since AJ returned, we have seen them, go back and forth with the promos and stuff, attacking each other. So this one to me was built up fine. It worked. And plus you have the return of AJ Lee in the ring. So you don't need much more build up than that. So that one worked. But then you had Cody and Drew. Cody and Drew's build up. We know that they've had beef in the past. Cool. Okay. But their build up was literally Cody popping back up at SmackDown after some time off and saying, "We're fighting at Wrestlepalooza." And then they had a contract signing that there wasn't much there. So I feel like another bad thing that the WWE did here with Wrestlepalooza is they didn't take the time to really build these feuds, these matches, give them TV time, let them have screen time so that we can be invested. Because I am one, and I will tell you from the beginning, I am one that I want to be invested in a match. I don't want you to plug two random people together and put them on a PLE. I want to be invested. I want there to be a story. I want there to be a reason. I want there to be history. I don't want random stuff going on. And I felt like this Wrestlepalooza was a little random. The next thing that I think was that they did wrong was there was nothing that even remotely shocked us. Like, and I'm not talking like we don't have to be shocked to the point of like seeing like Seth Rollins cashing in on CM Punk this year. Um, I would just be happy with the oh my gosh, what are they gonna do moment. But we got nothing. The biggest thing that shocked me is the fact that the John Cena Brock Lesnar was a squash match. And that was not a good shocking. That was a bad shocking because I do not know how you book a match in John Cena's retirement tour, one of his last of few. Like we're in single digits now. And so I don't know how you book one of his last few matches as a complete squash match. I don't like that at all. So that was the only thing that really shocked me, and it wasn't shocking in a good way. It was not shocking in a good way at all. It was almost shocking in like, why did you do that to John Cena? Like that's not it at all. Um None of the winners surprised me. I feel like I knew all of the people that were gonna win. The biggest thing that I think that they could have done was to have a shock in the Cody and Drew match. Whether it be somebody come back, somebody come out, Randy Orton, I don't know. They could have had so many ways to pivot that and really shock the world, and that would have helped this PLE. But nothing nothing about it was surprising at all. And I don't know because I do know Jay got hurt, and I feel like they called that match early. They haven't said that they did, but you can just see that it feels like they did. So maybe that's where the surprise was gonna come. I don't know. But it just felt like there was no surprises. I feel like on a PLE, there needs to be at least one surprise. And again, it doesn't have to be a, oh my God, Seth Rollins cash in on Punk surprise. It could be something small. It could be that Asuka came out to help Io and accidentally cost her. And that's how Stephanie won. That would have been a surprise because we know that Io and Asuka have beef, and that would have set that up even better. So I don't know. I feel like overall there was a lot of things WWE could have done better. I feel like they really dropped the ball on this PLE. ESPN even said it. They said it was underwhelming. So I feel like they have a long way to go from here. And maybe this is a good thing. Maybe this is a good thing because the WWE can take their attention back and focus on what they need to do to improve these. So maybe this is like the wake up call that they needed. But hopefully in the future we'll get better PLEs. We will start improving and getting better things going on. We have another PLE in like 3 weeks with the Crown Jewel. So I'll be interested to see the build for that and what they do, and maybe that can be their redemption story. But as always, let me know what you guys thought of Wrestlepalooza. What could have been better? What did you actually enjoy? Subscribe to my channel, like, comment, and follow me on our socials, and I'll see you guys next time.